Welcome back. This year is the 100th anniversary of the Miss America program, and the state title holders who will represent our area have now been chosen. While they won't compete at Miss America until a little later this year, I selfishly wanted to bring them together before I left for maternity leave to talk to Miss DC, Miss Virginia, and Miss Maryland about this year ahead. It is such a treat to have you all. It's our DMV representatives, and it's amazing because you are going to be representing us at the 100th Miss America, right? How does that feel to have this big milestone year as your year?
Crazy.
So exciting.
It's very surreal, but it's very exciting.
And you all have had the chance to meet each other, is that right?
Yes. So last week, we all knew each other before then, but last week was Miss America's Outstanding Teen. So that's when we got to meet a lot of the other girls too. And I think that's when it finally felt real for so many of us that, we were competing for the 100th Miss America.
I imagine. I mean, I was 10 years ago when I competed. I remember they made a big deal about it being the 90th anniversary. It's about the 100th. There's nothing like that. I wanted to ask you, I'll start, Tatum, with you because I know we've had Camille on our show, former Miss Virginia, current Miss America. Have you reached out to her at all, or what's that been like? Do you feel pressure following in Miss Virginia's footsteps?
I don't feel any pressure. I just feel support. She has been the best big sister. I had the awesome opportunity of having a 2-for-1 in Big Sisters because I have Camille and then I have Doc Kelly who took over for her. And so they both have been so supportive and encouraging. So it's just been awesome to know her as a friend and now as a bigger sister. And I'm excited to make Virginia proud this year following her.
It's got to be nice too, because clearly Virginia understands like what it's like in that transition and what this year is all about.
Yes, definitely. I feel like I have a better grasp of what life could look like should you win Miss America because I have her to look up to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And she's a great role model. We've enjoyed having her on the show. Andolyn, we go back a little bit. I judged you a couple years ago, so I'm so excited to see you're now Miss DC. Do you feel like this has been the right time for you to step up into this role?
100%. I think it's one of those things when you've competed before, you always think like that is the year, but then when you are actually in the year, the role, it finally clicks. And this year feels even more tremendous because technically I shouldn't have been able to compete for the 100th Miss America. But due to the pandemic, I technically would have aged out in 2020, but Miss America grandfathered those of us in, and Lydia fell in that boat too. So now we are getting to compete for the 100th Miss America, which feels again so incredible and just a huge honor to be able to compete in this tradition. And a lot of people don't know, but DC was the first Miss America.
That's true. Then Ohio, right? I got to hold up for my Miss Ohio fans. 1 and 2 there. And you and Lydia, you were telling me you've actually met before when you were competing in Virginia's system, right?
Yes. So that's the cool thing about being in the DMV. Like you can be in Virginia in 1 second, but then both of us move to our respective states, me for grad school. I'm currently at George Washington getting my doctorate in clinical psych. And then Lydia for school as well, right, Lydia?
Yes. Yeah. I moved to Maryland for school.
Lydia, I heard about you right away from Steve Fan. He reached out. Of course you know Steve. But he was so excited and told me some history. He said, because you're Korean heritage, right? And he was mentioning that you haven't had an Asian Miss Maryland in, what, 32 years?
Since 1990, that's correct.
Wow.
The first and until me, only Korean American and Asian American Miss Maryland was Virginia Cha in 1989. So it felt really historic to be able to be the second Miss Maryland who's also Korean American, having a chance to be the first Korean American Miss America.
Well, and especially right now, I mean, we run, unfortunately, stories a lot about through the pandemic, AAPI hate. Do you feel like this is the right time for your voice to have a big platform like Miss Maryland?
Absolutely. I think there's no better way to change the trajectory and the narrative of a group than to have a representative who embodies everything that we want to show about the Asian American community, and that we're well-spoken, that we're productive members of society, that we are people who give back to our communities. And I think it's a really beautiful and a thing and a big honor to be able to represent that as Miss Maryland.
I feel like we're in such great hands with these 3 title holders. You can watch them compete in Miss America this December. We don't know the exact date yet, so stay tuned for that.